You gotta be kidding me. Hey, what's going on YouTube? We are back at it again today with another Guardian Druid guide. This time we're going to be taking a look at what makes us an absolute terror in single target combat. We're talking about your tyrannical weeks, your raid bosses, your hot drops into Verdansk. Wait, no, that's the wrong video game. Your world PvP. The sky's the limit with this build, guys, so let's get it.
Actually, I was looking at Icy Veins and Vengeance Demon Hunters.
Hey, shut your mouths and let's get into it. Before we get started, I'd like to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, and that is my Twitch stream. Without the love and support of the community, there's no way I could make the videos that I do, so thank you guys. If you have any questions after the video, feel free to leave it in the comments section below, or head over to Twitch and ask me live there, anytime between 5 p.m. EST and midnight, every day but Sunday. Alright guys, just like last time, we're going to be breaking this down based on our chosen legendary, our gear, therefore stats, talents, consumables, and soulbind conduits. Getting started with our legendary. For heavy-hitting combat, whether it be a high keystone, progression raid boss, or soloing that world rare that you really want to drop a mount, but all it tells you is that your princess is in another castle, you're going to want to take the Natural Order's Will. This legendary recipe drops off the second boss in Castle Nathria and can be crafted onto head or hands. My initial recommendation would be that it's crafted onto the head, as there is only one helm that drops out of the raid, and it's often Nathrius himself, and it has pretty junker stats. Even with its slightly higher item level, I still have a feeling that it'll be more worth having the Versed Haste Gloves off the third boss. One way or another, I doubt there'll be too considerable of a difference though, so it really comes up to your own discretion. Regardless of what gear slot you choose to imbue this legendary power, prepare to become the Ursine Undying, because making a run back from the graveyard will be a thing in the past. This legendary causes Barkskin to grant you 10% additional reduction in damage, and on top of that, both activation and expiration of Barkskin in bear form causes you to gain both a free Iron Fur and a frenzied regen. I know, I'm gonna need you to bottle that excitement because it's about to get so much better. Moving on from legendaries, let's quickly touch on stat and trinket priority for this build. Again, with the changes to secondary stats coming through diminishing returns, we're no longer going to be stacking 1 or even 2 stats necessarily to Kingdom Come. However, we do want to prioritize versatility and mastery. Versatility directly reduces the damage taken and your output in both damage and healing. Mastery increases the intensity of your healing done and received. It's pretty easy to see why these two stats will play hand in hand with the brick house we're building. Upon nearing 20% on either of those, my recommendation is to then start prioritizing crit, as it will also increase your overall healing done. Now, taking a look at trinkets, there are really only 2 dungeon trinkets I'm a huge fan of for more single target encounters, and one of those I think should be replaced by a couple different raid trinkets ASAP. The first is the Inscrutable Quantum Device. This is a use trinket whose activated ability varies based on the situation you are in. More often than not, I find it gives me roughly 550 verse or crit for 20 seconds. However, if you're CC'd, for example, on activation, it'll break that CC. It's truly a meme trinket and quite fun to use. The second trinket I would bring into raid is the Blood Spattered Scale. I know, it's quite literally by its own description an AoE trinket. However, the flat damage absorbs is huge for magic mitigation, and on a 2-minute cooldown, there aren't really a lot of better dungeon options. I would, however, try to replace it with one of the raid equipped trinkets such as the Hateful Chain, just for a more efficient single target build. Moving right along from our gearing options, let's dive headfirst into our talents. Now, our talents are actually very important for this legendary build to be as overpowered as it actually is, though there are a few tiers where you'll have some wiggle room based on your playstyle or the content you're attacking. For our level 15 row, you'll want to take Brambles or Bristling Fur. Brambles is more fun in dungeon settings with the extremely short cooldown on Barkskin, which we'll discuss in a second. You wind up seeing a lot of Bramble damage go out, as while active, Barkskin increases damage reflected. Bristling Fur is more raid-oriented, as it allows you a greater level of control over your rage resource to plan more efficiently for those incoming big hits. For your level 30 row, I would go Feral Affinity, so that while off-tanking or when you're able to on a dungeon boss, you can pop Part of the Wild, hop into Cap form, and manage bleeds for increased output. For level 40, it's another choice row. If you want more output, go Galactic Guardian. If you're looking for more defensive options, go Soul of the Forest. Now, our level 45 row, Survival of the Fittest, hands down, is the most important talent for this build, as it takes our Barkskin's cooldown from 1 minute to 40 seconds, meaning more free Iron Furs and more freed Frenzied Regens. After that, I'd go Tooth and Claw, as its output and defensive utility is completely unmatched for single target encounters on that row. Now, taking a look at the consumables. I'm going to expand this section from my last video and also discuss enchants that I've had the opportunity to play around with on stream and get some actual numbers together. For dungeon content, the consumable lineup I would recommend are as follows: For your weapon enchant, you're going to want to take Lightless Force. It deals between 3 and 5% of your overall damage in dungeons if you position yourself correctly during each pull. For your food, I'd go with Steak a la Mode. This just gives you bonus verse. Battle Potion, Empowered Exorcisms. Now with the changes that they've made to potion cooldown, the best way to use these is only on the mob packs that you're going to really need a little extra help on. Finally, for your weapon oil, you're going to want to put Shadow Core on there for that additional 20% buff on Empowered Exorcisms. Now to take a look at more raid or single target heavy encounters, I'd recommend the following. Weapon enchant, you're going to want to go with Ascended Vigor or Celestial Guidance for additional healing or damage reduction respectively. For your food, go with Steak a la Mode. Again, bonus verse, it's too solid. For your battle potion, you're going to want to go with Potion of Spectral Agility for damage reduction. You'd use this potion just like you'd use any defensive cooldown. For your weapon oil, you're going to want to go with the Embalmer's Oil for additional healing. If Tyrannical Weeks and raid content feel as scaled up as this week's Fortified Dungeons do, then just remember, Lelna. A little extra lovin' never hurt anyone. Alright, lastly, let's discuss Soulbind Conduits. As a note, my build is oriented around Venthyr, as that was the covenant of my choice. However, I'll do my best to explain my mindset behind the Soulbind Conduits I chose so you more intuitively can assess your own options. As of today, December 10th, we only have 2 Soulbind Conduits unlocked and are less than halfway down the trees on each. For Nadja the Mistblade, I chose to take the right path, for the early Endurance Conduit and fancy footwork, allowing for greater maneuverability. With this Endurance Conduit, I would highly recommend, nay, insist, the Conduit Tough as Bark, which at this time I've not been able to loot, but further reduces Barkskin's cooldown by 10%. With Tough as Bark and Survival of the Fittest talented, your Barkskin's cooldown drops to roughly 30 seconds, meaning for those I may have lost back in Consumables, on activation of Barkskin, you get healed for 30% of your overall HP. 12 seconds later, when it expires, you get healed for another 30% of your HP. Then you have to wait about 20 seconds before you can pop another Barkskin, but to hold you off in the meantime, you have 2 Frenzied Regen uses just waiting for you. On top of the self-healing, you are buffing healing received while Frenzied Regen is up, and getting free Iron Furs as well. The build is absolutely an overhealing delight with defensives woven in, and Brambles going bonkers with all the Barkskins popping off, should you have chosen that talent. For your Finesse Conduit, to further increase you and your team's mobility, I went with Front of the Pack, but this socket is a little more up to your discretion. As the tree continues to open up, my recommendation is to try to get a layered main in there for even more defensive options, and then a Savage Combatant to further bolster a Soul of the Forest Tooth and Claw build. Should you choose Theotar the Mad Duke, I would recommend taking the left path initially so you can get an early endurance socket of Tough as Bark, even though for a Druid, Watch the Shoes is worthless since we can shapeshift out of roots and snares. Then my recommendation again for your potency conduit is to socket Savage Combatant in it for a beautiful Soul of the Forest Tooth and Claw build. This build is absolutely nutty. I've not gotten the chance yet to test it live, but I did get ample opportunities during the beta to give it a crack. And yeah, it's a pumper, and nothing has changed since then. So, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like always, please make sure to hit that little thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe. It helps me out more than you can know. In less than a month, we went from 70 some odd subscribers up to over 1,000 now, and that's all because of you guys. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, all the love and support you guys have given me here, the people that have come over to my Twitch to say how much they appreciate the videos. You guys are amazing, seriously. These are all for you. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that thumbs up, make sure you hit the subscribe. If you really like what you're seeing, hop over on Twitch, tell me hey, ask me about Guardian Druids or Beards, or Bears and Beards and Battlestar. Anyways, I'll see you guys there. Take it easy, be good to each other, and remember, we rage because we care. See you guys.